Capital structure means the arrangement of capital from different sources so that long-term funds needed for the business are being raised. Company generally does not distribute all its earnings amongst the shareholders as dividends. Sometimes a portion of the earnings may be retained in the business for the use of its future. So this is called retained earnings. Preference shares. So these shares are the shares which are carry preferential rights in respect of the dividend and return of capital. Hello students, how are you all? I welcome you to the financial management session. In today's session, we are going to talk about Unit 3, financial and dividend decisions. So before I move on with the topic, let me give my brief introduction. I am Vaishnavi, Faculty of Commerce from Vidyashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. So we'll see today's agenda first. We are going to talk about the basic meaning of capital structure. Then we are going to talk what are the sources of long-term finances, and we are going to solve some problems regarding the EBIT and EPS analysis. So first, the capital structure. So you might have heard about like the word capital. So capital is all about the money. So in a company, there will be a mixture of different sources. Okay, so they'll be having a sources of from equity shares, from preference shares, bank from loans, or from any borrowings from the public, or any loans from the financial institutions, etc. So a mixture of all these will be called as a capital structure. So we'll see with the meaning first. Term structure means the arrangement of the various parts. So capital structure means the arrangement of capital from different sources so that long-term funds needed for the business are being raised. So capital structure is all about the sourcing out all the different mixture of the long-term purposes or long-term funds for the raise of the business purposes or for the raise of the financial needs of a business. So capital structure refers to the proportions or combinations of equity share capital, preference share capital, debentures, long-term loans, retained earnings and other long-term sources of funds, and in total amount of capital which a firm should raise to run its businesses. So as I have told, it is a mixture of equity shares, preference shares, debentures, long-term loans from banks or long-term loans from financial institutions or any borrowings from the public, etc. So for what purpose we are raising this capital? For the need of the financial needs of a company or a business. So next we'll look into the sources of long-term finances. So under that, first is equity issuance, that is issue of the equity shares. So equity shares also will be called as the ownership shares. So this will be called up into the secondary market. So usually for a long-term purposes. Okay, so the investor can invest into the equity shares of a company for a long-term purposes. The name itself you can call about is the share. So it is a equally divided amount of the money into some parts will be called as a share. Okay, so the example here it is, so if a company needs to raise 50 crores of capital from the public, it issues shares and it can divide its capital into the units into definite value, say rupees 10 or rupees 100 each. So the amount will be divided into a finite number of shares or finite number of values according to the share price of the company in the market. Next is preference shares. So these shares are the shares which are carry preferential rights in respect of the dividend and return of capital. So preferential shares, the name itself you can tell it as is having a preferential right and they are supposed to get the dividends from the capital or the investment amount what they have invested on the company. So preference shares are being only invested by the promoters of the company or board of directors or any other people who are being closely related to the operations of the company. So this is called preference shares. Next is retained earnings. So a company generally does not distribute all its earnings amongst the shareholders as dividends. Sometimes a portion of the earnings may be retained in the business for the use of its future. So this is called retained earnings. The name itself you can tell us the earnings are being retained back by the company itself. For what purpose? For meeting the future financial needs. So this is called retained earnings. Next is debentures. So it is also a long-term debt capital you can call. So it is that is carrying an assured of rate of return for investors in the form of fixed rate of return. So it is having the interest rate of a fixed rate and the capital borrowed from the company. The debentures is written acknowledged agreement from the borrowed money, it specifies the terms and conditions such as rate of interest, time of repayment, security offered, etc. So these are offered to the public to subscribe in the same manner as is done in the case of the shares. Okay, so debentures are in the form of a long-term debt wherein all the details or agreement is been created or been done by the company and as well as shareholder, and what are the details that will be included in the agreement. So the rate of interest that they are going to pay, and what is the repayment maturity date or repayment amount that they are going to get after the maturity of the period, name of the shareholder, and etc. Next type of finance is trade credits. So it is a credit extended by one trader to another for the purchase of goods and services. So it is a kind of a service that has been provided by the trader to the another trader, like a B2B businesses, for the purchase of the goods or services that they have made. Okay. So the trade credit facilities the purchases of the supplies without the immediate payment. Such credit appears in the records of the buyers as sundry creditors or sundry creditors payable. Next is lease financing. So a lease is a contractual agreement whereby one party, that is the owner of an asset, grants the other party the right to use the asset in return of a periodic payment. Okay, so it is a contract between two people where one party will be giving the right to use the other party for over a period of time in exchange of some money at a full payment or by the periodic payment. So the owner of the asset is called lessor, while the party that uses the asset is known as the lessee. Next is public deposits. The deposits that are raised by the organization directly from the public is known as public deposits. So the rate of interest offered on public deposits are usually higher than that of offered on bank deposits. So any person who is interested in depositing money in the organization can do so by filling up a prescribed form. The organization in return issues a deposit receipt as an acknowledgement of the debt. Okay, so public deposit is a kind of a deposit that are been accepted from the public in the form of some lump sum funds. Okay, so certificate will be provided by the company to the person who have invested based on the application what they have applied to the company. Next type of long term fund is commercial banks, so or loan from the commercial banks. So commercial banks in India may grant loans for over a period of 3 to 5 years. These loans may be accessible by the companies for a variety use of including capital expenditure, etc. So the long term loans that you are being going to avail from the commercial banks or any financial institutions will be also considered as a long term source of finance. So those are the important sources of finance that we are going to discuss about. So next we are going to talk about the EBIT and EPS analysis. So what is EBIT? So what usually happens is like, so when a sales or income usually generates, so we have to first deduct any kind of variable cost that we have got. Later, whatever the fixed cost that you are going to incur on the production of that particular product will be recognized and that also will be deducted, and whatever the profit that is going to remain within our hands will be called as the EBIT. So EBIT is all about earnings before interest and tax. So based on that we are going to calculate the earnings per share for the equity shareholder. So as the equity shareholder, it is an important decisions to make. So which kind of company or which kind of plan structure is going to give them the higher rate of interest or higher returns on the investments what they have made. So that we are going to learn in this chapter. So let's look into the first question. So a company is having a capital structure consisting of equity shares of rupees 10 lakh and each share is rupees 100. Retained earnings of rupees 5 lakh, then 9% preference shares of rupees 6 lakh, then 7% debentures of rupees 4 lakh and total is rupees 25 lakh. Further, we are going to see the question. The company is going to earn 12% on its capital. The income tax rate is 5%. The company is required a sum of rupees 12,50,000 to finance its expansion program, for which the following alternatives are available. So till now we have checked what are all the details that the companies had. So they have got equity shares, they have got preference shares, they have debentures, they have got retained earnings, and the company is going to earn 12% on the capital. So that is the yield percentage. So on the total capital what they have invested, so the company is going to get 12% on the capital what they have invested. So, and the income tax rate is 50%. Then the companies further is going to require 12,50,000 to expand their program. So, for that, there are three types of plans that they have given. First is about issue of 10,000 equity shares at a premium of ₹25 per share. Second is about issue of 10% preference shares. Third is about issue of 8% preference shares. So, out of these three, we have to calculate which plan or which alternative is giving us the more earnings per share, and we have to recommend that particular finance or that particular plan to the equity shareholder. So, let's move with the solution. So, in the question they had given the total EBIT is 12% on the total capital that they have got. So, total capital for the company is equity shares plus preference shares plus debentures. So, if we add all those, so we are going to get a amount of ₹20 lakh. So, EBIT is equals to 20 lakh. So, out of that 12% is the EBIT we are supposed to find. 20 lakh into 12%. So, we'll get 2,40,000. So, less interest. So, on debentures, we are supposed to pay the interest. So, less interest. So, we are going to get an interest amount of 1,28,000. So, if we deduct, so we are going to get an amount of 2,40,000. 2,40,000. Then 1,12,000. So, after deduction of tax, we will get earnings before tax, less tax. So, here how much they are paying a tax? 10%. So, 2,40,000 into 10%. So, we will get 24,000, 11,200. So, if we deduct, we will get 2,16,000. 2,16,000. 1,08,000. So, this will be considered as earnings after tax, less preference dividend. So, the company is going to pay preference dividend of 1,79,000. So, if we deduct, so we will get 2,16,000. So, 2,16,000 minus 1,79,000. So, we will get 37,000. Then 1,08,000. Okay. So, this will be called as earnings available to equity shareholders. Okay. So, for plan 1, we are having an earnings of 2,16,000, plan 2, 37,000 and plan 3, 1,08,000. So, further we have to calculate number of shares. The company is already having 10,000 equity shares, plus further it introducing 10,000 equity shares. So, 10,000 plus 10,000. So, we will get 20,000 equity shares. Then here they are issuing the preference dividend. So, we will be having 10,000 equity shares. In case of debentures also it is same, 10,000 equity shares. Okay. For the calculation of EPS, so there is a formula, earnings available to the equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares. Earnings for the first plan we have got 2,16,000. So, 2,16,000 divided by 20,000. So, we will get share value of ₹10.80. So, in case of second plan, the earnings is 37,000. So, 37,000 divided by 10,000. So, we are going to get an earnings of ₹3.70. Whereas in case of the third plan, we are having a amount as 1,800,000. So 1,800,000 divided by 10,000. So we are going to have a earnings per share of 10.80. So out of these three plans, so the equity share have got 10.80 and the debentures have got 10.80. So as both of them have got the same earnings, so you can choose any one out of them. So this is how you calculate the EBIT on earnings per share. So further moving on, so we have got the next question. So first, A Limited has a share capital of 1 lakh divided into shares of rupees 10 each. So it has a major expansion program requiring an investment of another 50,000. So the management is considering the following alternatives. First, 5,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each, 5,000 12% preference shares of rupees 10 each, then 10% debentures, 5,000 debentures of rupees 10 each. Okay. So further we have to calculate, the company is having an EBIT of 40,000 per annum. So we are supposed to calculate the EBIT when there is a same, as well as if the EBIT is going to increase by 10,000. So that means we have to calculate two tables, wherein first table we are going to calculate with how much earnings per share we are going to get if the EBIT is 40,000, and next question is if the EBIT is going to be the 50,000. Okay. So as per the question, the EBIT we are supposed to calculate for the plan that is having when the EBIT is 40,000 and when the EBIT is increased by 10,000. So this is EBIT is 40,000. So starting, write EBIT 40,000, 40,000, 40,000. So less interest. So interest we are going to pay 5,000. So if we deduct, we are going to get 40,000, 40,000, then 35,000. So next, this will be called as earnings before tax, less tax. So tax is being paid at 10%. So this is 4,000, this is 4,000, and this is 3,500. Okay. So if we deduct, we are going to get 36,000, 36,000, 31,500. This will be called as earnings after tax, less preference dividend. So for the second plan, there is a issue of how many number of preferences. So 5,000, 12% preferences of rupees 10 each. So that means 50,000 into 12%. So it is going to get 6,000. So we'll get 36,000 here, 30,000 on the second plan, then 31,500. So this will be called as earnings available for equity shareholders. So now we are supposed to calculate the EPS. So for that we need number of equity shares. So here if you can see, there is already a capital of 1 lakh shares divided into 10 each. So that means there is a total number of 10,000 shares. With that, they are also issuing extra 5,000 shares. So 10,000 plus 5,000. So we'll get 15,000 equity shares. In case of second, there is only 10,000 equity shares. In case of debenture, again there is 10,000 equity shares. So now EPS is equals to earnings available to equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares. So earnings 36,000 divided by 15,000. So we'll get an earnings of rupees 2.4 per share. So in case of second plan, we are having an earnings of 30,000 divided by 10,000. So we are going to have a earnings of rupees 3 per share. Then in case of third plan, we are having a earnings of 31,500 divided by 10,000. So we are having an earnings of 3.15 per share. So out of these three, which kind of plan is going to yield you more earnings per share? That is the debentures. So we have to select the third plan, that is the debenture plan. This is for the EBIT is 40,000. Next, if EBIT is increased by 10,000, so that means EBIT is 50,000. So write EBIT 50,000, 50,000, 50,000. So less interest. So interest we have paid 5,000. So we are going to get 50,000, 50,000, 45,000. So this will be called as earnings before tax. Less tax at 10%. So we'll get 5,000, 5,000, 4,500. So if you deduct, we'll get 45,000, 45,000. So we'll get a amount of 40,500. So this will be called as earnings after tax. Less preference dividend. So the company is paying a preference dividend of 6,000 rupees. So write 6,000 here. Then if we deduct, we'll get 45,000. Then so we'll get 39,000. Then 40,500. Okay. So number of equity shares is equals to 10,000 shares already is there in the capital. They are issuing extra 5,000 shares. So that is 15,000 shares. Whereas in case of plan 2, it is 10,000 shares. In case of plan 3, it is again 10,000 shares. So earnings per share is equals to earnings available to equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares. So 45,000 divided by 15,000. So we'll get rupees 3 per share. So for the second plan, the earnings we have got 39,000 divided by 10,000. So we are going to get a earnings of 3.9 per share. Whereas in case of third plan, we have got 40,000 500 divided by 10,000. So we are going to have a plan of 4.5 per share. So out of these three, again the third plan, that is the issue of debenture plan, is yielding you more earnings per share while comparing to the other two plans. So we have to select the third plan, that is the debenture plan. So this is how you calculate the EBIT and EPS analysis. Further moving on, this is the problems on leverage. So we'll see the question. A company's capital structure is consisting of 5 lakh equity capital and rupees 2 lakh 10% debentures. Sales increased by 25% from 40,000 to 50,000 units. Selling price is rupees 10, variable cost is rupees 6, fixed expense is rupees 1 lakh. Then tax is calculated at 30%. Calculate operating, financial and combined leverage. So starting, we are going to start with the how much is the EBIT we are going to get if the production is 40,000 units and if the production is 50,000 units. So starting with sales. So for 40,000 units, so the selling price per unit, you can see here in the question, selling price per unit is rupees 10. So 40,000 into 10, so we are going to get 4 lakh. Then here you are going to get 5 lakh. Okay. Less variable cost. So for the variable cost, they have told how much is the variable expenses or variable cost per unit they have told. So it is rupees 6. So 40,000 into 6 will get 2 lakh. 40,000. Then 50,000 into 6 will get 3 lakh. So if we deduct 2,40,000 minus 4 lakh, so we'll get 1,60,000 as the contribution. And 5 lakh minus 3 lakh will get 2 lakh as the contribution. Okay. Then next, less fixed cost. So in the question they have told a fixed expense is rupees 1 lakh. So deduct 1 lakh. So if we deduct, so we'll get 60,000 and 1 lakh. So this will be called as operating profit or EBIT. So for that we have to deduct interest. So if you see in the question, so there is a 10% debenture amounting rupees 2 lakh. So interest we are supposed to pay on the debentures. So there is a debenture capital of rupees 2 lakh. The interest rate they are going to pay at 10% and each value of the debenture is rupees 100. So 2 lakh at 10%. So we are going to get 20,000. So deduct 20,000. So we'll get 40,000. Then 80,000. So less tax. So in the question they have told tax is at rupees 30%. So 40,000 into 30%, it is 12,000. Then 80,000 into 30% will get 24,000. So if we deduct, we'll get 28,000. Then we'll get 50. We'll get 56,000. So this is earnings after tax. So next we are going to calculate the operating leverage, financial leverage and combined leverage. So the formula for operating leverage is equals to contribution divided by EBIT. Then the formula for financial leverage is EBIT divided by earnings before tax. Then combined leverage formula is operating leverage into financial leverage. So contribution we have got is 1,60,000 divided by EBIT is 60,000. So we'll get a value of 2.6 times. Next, so here EBIT is 60,000 divided by earnings before tax is 40,000. So we are going to get a value of 1.5 times. So this is for the 40,000 units. So we'll do for the 50,000 units as well. So operating leverage is equals to, for the 50,000 units we have got a contribution of 2 lakh divided by EBIT is 1 lakh. So we are going to get a value of 2 times. Then financial leverage is equals to formula EBIT divided by earnings before tax. So EBIT we have got 1 lakh. Earnings before tax we have got 80,000. So we'll get 1.25 times. So this is for the 40,000 units. So this is for the 50,000 units. So next we have to find the combined leverage for 40,000 units. So the formula is operating leverage into the financial leverage. So that is 2.6 into 1.5. So we'll get 3.9 times for 50,000 units. So we'll get 2 into 1.25. We'll get 2.5 times. So this is how you calculate the financial leverage. So in the next session, we are going to talk about the next unit, that is unit number 4. On that, we are going to learn about the important capital budgeting techniques, like how to calculate the NPV, how to calculate the payback period, how to calculate the accounting rate of return and profitability index. So all these are important for your 15 marks. So I request you to brush up your concepts, do the problems again. So in the next session, problems are also important for your final examination. So those questions are also, you're going to get it for 15 marks. So I'll meet you in the next session. Thank you so much.